In today's video, I want to do something a little bit different than what we normally do in this channel. Rather than just me trying to explain things from my own point of view and my own perspective, which I feel like it's totally valid, right? Because I've manifested certain things in my reality. Instead of that, I wanted to actually take you through a passage from Neville's book, Prayer, the Art of Believing, to make you believe that yes, you have what it takes to manifest your specific person, and yes, it's not that hard if you just follow the advice that he gives on this book here. So if you want to learn more about this, stay tuned and let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm gonna switch on to my computer screen right here, and yes, this is from chapter 4, which is Energy and the Power, from his book Prayer, the Art of Believing. So I want to start from right here, okay, this part right here. What you sincerely believe as true of another, you will awaken within him. No one needs to be entranced in the ordinary manner to be helped. I'm going to explain some things here in a second too. If the subject is consciously unaware of the suggestion, and if the suggestion is given with the conviction and confidently accepted by the operator as true, then you have the ideal setting for successful prayer. By prayer, Neville doesn't mean just like you sitting in front of God and joining your hands and asking them for something. And rather than that, how Neville explains prayer is you go into this state of relaxation and then you activate your imagination and you believe that you already have what it is that you wanted. And he's going to explain how you do that here in a second too. But just keep that in mind. It's not about like sitting in front of God and asking for something. Represent the subject to yourself mentally as though he had already done what you desire him to do. You can replace him with her too. Represent the subject to yourself mentally as though they had already done that which you desire them to do. So in your mind, you basically think of them doing something that you've wanted them to do. For example, if you're trying to manifest more commitment from your SB, what you could do is imagine that they're saying to you that they're totally committed to you and maybe you're spending time together. In this passage here, he's also making a point that you have to have mental conversation while you're imagining, while you're praying. So mentally speak to them and congratulate them on having done what you want them to do. Mentally see them in the state you want them to obtain. Within the circle of actions, every word subjectively spoken awakens objectively what it affirms. So here what he means by this is whenever you're trying to affirm something in your mind, right, while you're doing these visualization exercises, that is more subjective. That's happening inside of your mind, but that eventually manifests into the material reality, which is the objective part. So what you do mentally is subjective, but when it manifests eventually in the 3D reality, that's totally objective. That's what you can feel, right? That's something that you can actually look back and see, oh yeah, that actually happened. So that's what he means by subjective and objective here. Incredulity on the part of the subject is no hindrance when you are in the control of your reverie. So here what he's trying to say is, even if the subject who you're trying to do this prayer upon is not aware of the fact what is happening, or they don't believe in what is happening, that doesn't matter. All that matters is you're doing it from your own perspective, and that's eventually going to manifest them, even if they have no idea of what's happening in the background, even if they don't believe that this is going to happen, even if they don't believe that they can be together with you, it doesn't matter. All that matters is you do from your own perspective. And he goes on to say, bold assertions by you while you are in a partly subjective state awakens what you affirm. Self-confidence on your part and the thorough belief in the truth of your mental assertion are all that is needed to produce results. So you have to be in the state of confidence. You have to make bold assertion that yes, this is going to manifest. You have to have that kind of confidence, because if you do not have that kind of confidence and you're doing this from a place of lack or fear, it is not going to happen. So you have to have faith in yourself, like yes, this is going to happen as I'm doing this. That's why relaxing is very important as you do this, because it eliminates all doubts. And one way I like to relax myself is I try to do this heart coherence breathing, where I basically breathe into my heart center and hold and then let it go. I do this for maybe 3 to 5 times, and once I do this, my mind lets go of all those frustrations of the day, and it also lets go of the doubt in the process itself while you're doing it, and it builds that confidence in you as you do this from a state of relaxation. So let's go on reading to the next part. So visualize the subject and imagine that you hear his voice. This establishes contact with his subjective mind. Then imagine that he is telling you what you want to hear. If you want to send him words of health and wealth, then imagine that he is telling you, I have never felt better and I've never had more joy. And mentally tell him of your joy in witnessing his good fortune. Imagine that you see and hear his joy. In this part, what he's saying is you have to have a mental conversation that's filled with emotion, right? And in this case, he's saying that it's filled with joy whenever you're having conversations with one another. So in your case, if you're trying to manifest being with a specific person or trying to manifest more commitment from a specific person, what you can do is have mental conversations such as they're saying to you that, oh, I feel so good to be head over heels in love with you, right? Of course, they're feeling that joy too. Don't just think that this is only something that you're trying to manifest, so therefore it will only incite joy in you or the feelings of love in you. If they are also falling in love with you in the same way, of course it's gonna make them feel better too. They're gonna feel like they're the luckiest person in the world too, right? So inside that feeling of joy in them as they're saying these words to you, as they're saying to you, I feel so lucky to be with you. I feel so joyous to be with you. I'm so glad that we're together now. And you say that, I feel the same way about this, and I'm so glad that you're saying this to me. I'm so glad to be hearing these words from your mouth yourself. So you can say that in that manner. So let's go on to reading the next part. A mental conversation with the subjective image of another must be in a manner which does not express the slightest doubt as to the truth of what you hear and say. If you have the least idea that you do not believe what you have imagined, you have heard and seen, the subject will not comply, for your subjective mind will transmit only your fixed ideas. So what he's trying to say here is you have to let go and eliminate of all that kind of doubt, just like we said before, right? And you can only manifest what it is that you want by eliminating the slightest doubt that you have about what's happening right now and whether or not it's going to manifest in the future. You have to let go of those doubts, then only it's going to manifest. Only fixed ideas can awaken their vibratory correlates in those toward whom they are directed. In the controlled reverie, ideas must be suggested with utmost care. If you do not control your imagination in the reverie, your imagination will control you. Whatever you suggest with confidence is law to the subjective mind. It is under obligation to objectify which you mentally affirm. So remembering what we said earlier, if you do not have utmost confidence in this process and you have doubts come and linger, instead of you controlling the imagination, it's gonna start controlling you. Sometimes you may even notice that instead of you controlling your mind, your imagination, what happens is your mind goes on autopilot and it starts to introduce all these ideas of fear, full of fear, where you feel like you can't have what you want. It makes you feel that you're unworthy of having what you want. To eliminate that, you have to have utmost confidence in yourself. So whatever you suggest with confidence is law to the subjective mind. It is under obligation to objectify that which you mentally affirm. Not only does the subject execute the state affirmed, but he does it as though the decision had come of itself or the idea had originated by him. So once you do this exercise and once you affirm, then what happens is when the other person's behavior are going to start reflecting according to your assumptions, it feels as though this idea of change had come from that person themselves, and that's how they think that that decision of change came towards them. They may think that they had this idea come to them by themselves rather than coming from you and your mental efforts. So that pretty much sums up everything that you need to do in order to manifest a specific person. And the only thing that you need for this to happen is your prayer, your ability to visualize, your ability to imagine and do these mental exercises where you hear them say what you want them to say to you, and you say back to them that you feel so glad that they feel that way about you. Once you do that with full confidence, yes, it is going to manifest in the material reality, and the things that you have affirmed are gonna be reflected through them. they're gonna start saying to you the things you've already imagined before. And sometimes even the words that they say to you are so exact that it's gonna blow your mind. So try to do this as an exercise to see this manifestation happen for yourself. If you feel like you're too fearful about your manifestation when it comes to you manifesting your SP or certain kinds of commitment or anything from them, try to do this with a relative that you don't have as much resistance towards, and see this happen in your own reality. You may do this once and you forget, and next thing what happens is a couple of weeks later this happens to you exactly in the way you imagined that to have happened. Go ahead and do it in more smaller scale or smaller scenarios. That's the only way you see the evidence for it, the results for it, and then you can go on to manifest bigger things. So with that being said, guys, I want to end this video here today. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do so, and also feel free to leave your thoughts down in the comment section. Feel free to smash that like button. And right now I also have this free guide available which is going to help you speed up your manifestation, and you can download that guide and start following the steps in your own pace. And I also offer one-on-one coaching session if that feels more helpful to you. And with that, I want to wish you all the very best. Good luck manifesting your specific person.